Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you all having a great day yesterday for 4th of July. It's good to see you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to another of our Exploring America's National Park streams. And today we're here for our next national park in the series, and the first national park we'll be paying a visit to post-World Update Arches National Park here in southeast Utah. So I hope you guys are all doing well here today. We got some pretty exciting flying here to do this morning, of course. We got some really amazing stuff to fly. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys all we need to know about this area, of course. So if you don't know, Arches National Park is one of Utah's most famous parks, along with Zion and Bryce Canyon as one of the state's most popular parks. And of course, you all know about the famous sandstone arches, most notably Delicate Arch. We'll make a few trips and bushlands around this area, but we'll mainly just be exploring this beautiful area. So before we get started, I do want to say hello to everyone around here too. Lurkers and mods, I hope you're all doing well. I see Super Typhon out with us here today. He's going to be flying along with us. So here's our flight plan this morning. So we'll start here at 33 Uniform from Dutch John Airport. From there, we'll cross into Dinosaur National Monument in Colorado. So we'll be paying a visit to Dinosaur National Monument here in Colorado. We'll pay a visit to Dinosaur National Park here in Rangeley, Colorado. So we'll pay a visit to there, of course. Then from Dinosaur National Monument, we'll make our way to Rangeley Airfield at Kilo Romeo Alpha Echo. We'll make that our first stop of the day at Rangeley Airport. Then from Rangeley, we'll make a short hop over to Grand Junction, Kilo Juliet, Kilo Golf Juliet Tango. And finally from there, we'll make the way over to there. Then we have one last leg over to Arches. We'll pay a visit over to Mount Was before heading down into Moab, Utah. And then from there, we'll fly over into Arches. I think we'll make a few landings. I think we'll mainly make a landing at Double Arch, around the Double Arch, Turret Arch, and Balance Rocks. We'll make a visit to there. And then, of course, we'll make a landing near Delicate Arch, the most famous arch in the park. We'll find one there, fly over this area, and then fly over a couple of the other arches here too, before we make our stop at Canyonlands Field Airport, Kilo Charlie November Yankee. So that's where we're going to be doing today. Pretty simple flying. We'll get through here, so we'll get everything ready to go. So I've already got everything set up. So let me do the flight plan. Okay. So the first leg, our flight will take us, our max altitude is 13,000 feet, but for the first leg, we can fly 10,500 feet. So let me go ahead and set this up. We got autopilot, so. Sorry. So. So let's go ahead and take off here. We'll fly around the airport for a bit. Like I said, we don't really need that much of an airport. Even at 6,500 feet, this thing does not take much runway. So this is the beautiful area here at Dutch John, Utah. We're right near Flaming Gorge. And you're not far from Flaming Gorge Dam, which is one of the greatest fisheries in both Utah and Wyoming. So, and this is all part of the Green River. Pretty stunning little area here. Just this heart of Utah. So this here, of course, is the Flaming Gorge Power Plant Dam. So there's some of the fishery. Gorgeous area. So. So we're going to go ahead and climb all the way up to 10,500 feet. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Smokehouse Assassin, good to see you. First time chat. We're going to be visiting Arches National Park today. So, hey, good to see you, John DFW. We're at, we just took off from 33 uniform today, John DFW. We're, good to see you, John. I hope you're doing well. So we're doing our National Park series here in Arches, our Park 33. So we're going to be going to Arches. Now, before we head to Arches, I want to talk a little bit about Arches National Park for a brief second. I just want to get you guys to be a little introduced into Arches. This famous Utah National Park is situated in eastern Utah, just 4 miles north of Moab. This park, of course, contains more than 2,000 natural sandstone arches, including the well-known Delicate Arch, hence the name Arches National Park, which is the highest density of natural arches in the world. It also contains a lot of other unique geological resources and formations. Now, above, the national park lies about an underground evaporate layer of salt bed, which is the main cause of these arches, spires, bounce, rocks, and monoliths in the area. The park itself consists of 310 square kilometers of high desert, And its elevation ranges from 5,600 feet high at Elephant Butte to the lowest point at 4,000 feet at the Visitor Center. And this is one of the most popular national parks one of the more popular parks in the U.S. As in 2021, 1.8 million people visited the park. It's a very cool national park. I mean, this entire area of southern Utah is a geographic marvel. So we got a lot of stuff going through here today. So pretty cool introduction. U, yeah, U equals Utah. Yeah, that's right, John DFW. 3U is Utah. So cool thing about Arches is ton of really cool features. Now, of course, Arches was not always a national park. It did get established originally as a national monument in 1929, but it took almost 50 years for it to be a national park. It took about 42 years to be a national park. So, really cool thing about Arches, it's just the sheer number of geological formations. And one of the most important things about the national park and what makes Arches so special is the park's unique geology, and this is a major part of what makes this park so important. You see, this national park lies above an underground evaporite layer or salt bed, which is the main cause of the formations of the arches, spire, bounce rocks, and monoliths in the area. This salt bead, in some places, is thousands of feet thick, and was deposited here at the Colorado Plateau some 300 million years ago when a sea flowed into the region and naturally evaporated. Of course, over those millions of years, the salt bed was covered by debris eroded from the geologic uplift to the northeast. And of course, when the Jurassic happened 200 million years ago, desert conditions prevailed, and the vast Navajo sandstone was deposited. And more sandstone came in throughout the entire Mesozoic. The weight of all that cover below, all that weight and stuff caused the salt bed below to liquefy and thrust up into layers of rock we call salt domes. And the evaporites of those areas form unusual salt anticlines or linear regions of uplift. Faulting occurred in whole sections of rock subsided areas between the domes, and one such of this was the Moab Fault in Utah, right around the national park. Of course, although the park's terrain may be rugged and durable, it's actually extremely fragile. More than 1 million park visitors each year threaten the fragile, high desert ecosystem, because the problem lies within the soil's crust, which is made of cyanobacteria, algae, fungi, and lichens that grow in the dusty parts of the park. Factors that make the park very sensitive to visitor damage include semi-arid region, scarce unpredictable rainfall, lack of deep freezing, and the lack of plant litter. And of course, compressional foot traffic is also a big key as well. So people need to be very careful when they walk in and out of arches to not damage anything. So pretty neat stuff about the park's unique geology. It's very cool to learn over the years. And the formation of these arches, by the way, the arches we all know, the geological processes that occurred over 3,100 years ago caused the salt bed to be deposited. Over time, the salt bed was covered by sediments, which compressed into the rock layers that have since been sandstone, and then more layers surrounded the edge of the salt bed, continue to erode and shift into vertical sandstone called fins. Sand collected between the verticals of the fins, and then with acidic rain and carbon dioxide form carbonic acid within the sand. And over time, the carbonic acid dissolves the calcium carbonate that held the sandstone together. And eventually, the weaker layers dissolve first, create openings in the rock, and then gravity cause the piece of stronger rock to fall piece by piece into an arch-like shape. And that creates your arches, of course, you see all over the park. Arches form within the rock fins at points of intense fracturing localization, or weak points in the rock's formation caused by different discontinuities. Lastly, water, wind, and time continue this erosion process, and it ultimately created the arches of Arches National Park. And all the arches here were made from Entrada sandstone. But each arch has slight differences between each other. So really cool stuff. You get to see how the rocks and arches were made from all over the park. So that is how the arch is here. Hey, Complete Freedom, good to see you. Let me give you a shout for Complete Freedom. I hope you're doing well, my dude. I did see your most recent YouTube content, Complete Freedom. Really enjoyable to see you making content. So I hope you're doing well, my dude. So, but in fact, we're not here to visit Arches National Park first. We're actually started in. Hey, Just Chilling for Life. Good to have you here too. Excellent having you on board. I'm doing great. I had a wonderful 4th of July. I got to see my local soccer club, Louisville City, last night. Got to watch them again. They won, of course, 1-0. So go Lou City. I'm happy about that. So. So, that's what we're doing here. Wish could stay up for England's game tonight. Oh yes, England had a big game tonight. Mexico, that's going to be one very difficult place to play for England. Oh, that's going to be a tough one to play. At the Azteca too. That's going to be a tough matchup for England. Speaking of the World Cup, yesterday, of course, Morocco absolutely wrecked Canada in the second half. 3-0. Canada are out in the round 16. Morocco, once again, is in the quarterfinal. It is already in the quarterfinals again. Could they get another deep run again this year? Would be the interesting question. And then the last game was Paraguay and France. Paraguay did slow down France for most of the game, but Kylian Mbappe got the penalty, and he secured the win for the French over the Paraguayans. It's a big win for France in the World Cup. Today, of course, we had Mexico, England. I think it's going to be a tough one. Well, England may be the more talented team on paper. Mexico has home field advantage at the Azteca. That's going to be a very tough place to play. And then, of course, the first game today, Brazil and Norway. I think Brazil's got it, but who knows? Erling Haaland is one of the best players in the world, so, I mean, anything can happen. And then, of course, tomorrow is USA-Belgium. It's going to be a tough one for the Americans, and I think Belgium may be the favorites, but who knows? It's at U.S. home soil. And then, of course, Portugal and Spain, which I think, as good as Cristiano Ronaldo is, I have to give it to Spain. Spain's just so deep in talent. I mean, Spain has got players like Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, but especially Orzabal, who has had a really good World Cup this year. Has had a really nice World Cup. He's had a really nice World Cup. He's been super valuable. So I think it's going to be a win for Spain. Oh, nice. You're going to go to Oshkosh. Oh, lucky you, Complete Freedom. That's awesome to hear. So, I hope you had a great time in Oshkosh. That's something I wanted to attend for a long time. So really cool stuff. So, guys, we're about to enter into a world update. So we now have a new world update for the U.S. National Parks. It just released on July 2nd. I said before on my stream there are several national parks covered in the update that we want to revisit. And I've already listed them in my Discord if you guys want to check it out. But I've already listed it in the Discord. So, but basically some of the parks here in the update, we will be covering them again in the future. Some of them include Sequoia, Rocky Mountain, Lassen Volcanic, Zion, Bryce Canyon, Grand Teton, Olympic, Kings Canyon, and Canyonlands. The rest are going to be done as normal. So we'll be doing a redo, but thankfully the plans are going to be much shorter since we've already visited the park. And speaking of the fight going well, Sky Command, hey my dude, good morning to you. So by the way, guys, this area here, it is actually a national monument. It's called Dinosaur National Monument. It's on the border between Colorado and Utah. This was actually preserved originally in 1915 to preserve its famous dinosaur quarry. And it was greatly expanded in 1938. The wild landscapes, topography, geology, and more make it a very unique resource for both science and recreation. And there's over 800 paleontological sites and has fossils dinosaurs from Allosaurus to Deinonychus and sauropods. It's really cool. It's even a Dark Sky Park in 2019. Super cool stuff. But look at this. Wow. Look at this place. Oh my goodness gracious. Dinosaur National Monument. I don't know if you should be a national park or something, because this is just wow. Hey, thank you so much, Just Chillin'. Let me get you in the Discord. And welcome on in as a Sidewinder, as one of my Sidewinders. Good to have you here. But yeah, I hope all of you Americans had a great 4th of July. I know there was a lot of fireworks last night, of course. Tons of stuff, of course. So lots of 4th of July stuff. But man, look at the landscape here. That is just cool. Mind you, this is a national monument, of course. Not a park, but a monument. Really cool stuff. So, of course, there were a lot of people that lived here. There was a controversy in the 1950s about Echo Park Dam. But there's some really cool stuff they found here, of course. They found a lot of different fossils here. They've also found Stegosaurus was found here, and plenty of sauropods. Apatosaurus, Camarasaurus, and Diplodocus were found here, and the theropods, mainly Allosaurus. And they're still finding new fossils out here today. Really cool stuff, though. Dinosaur National Monument is really neat. It's a neat place to visit. And here's the official page for it. If you guys want to check out Dinosaur National Monument and want to learn more about it, it's a super neat place to visit. Just the sheer landscape of this place. There's Typhon down here. He's actually down here exploring the National Monument. But yeah, one of the really cool things you could do here at the National Park. There's plenty of things to do. You can take scenic drives in the National Monument. Even though much of it is wilderness, there are some roads. And you can see some of the rocks, which is really cool. There's scenic drives here. So some of the other things you can do. Hiking is nice. This is a really neat area for hiking. This place is really scenic with the hikes. It's a beautiful monument though. And of course, river rafting is really good here. All the remote canyons can be rafted. Be a super cool area. Oh, fantastic! Just chilling. That's really cool. Get your private pilot license on Xbox. Hey, keep going at it, my dude. I believe in you. You got it. It won't be easy, but it definitely you definitely got it as well. Um, as well. Um, there's also wildlife viewing here too. Many people come to visit from the variety of wildlife. But yeah, it's a super cool park. It's a super cool national monument. We're definitely one of the cooler places to visit. Yeah, super cool place. Like I said, it looks as beautiful as some of the national parks, but it's a monument, which is really cool. So we're gonna continue. We're not too far from. We're about halfway to our first stop here in Rangeley Airport. So yeah, really cool stuff. Yeah, what a cool place to visit. That was cool. Hope you guys like that one. So in terms of next week's streams, for next week, I do want to talk to you guys about that. I'm gonna hold off doing streams on Saturdays. I decided to hold off on that for a bit and just go back to the 2 streams a week on Fridays and Sundays, just a bit to chill around it for a bit. I just think having the day break would probably feel nice to just decompress a bit. So we won't do streams Saturday. For our next game day flight is going to be another one with the World Cup, of course. We're going to continue our World Cup coverage. We'll be doing the quarterfinals on July the 10th. So it will be one of the matches from July 10th to 11th. So it's either going to be the United States and Spain, or it could be, or it could be it would probably be Argentina and it would be either Argentina and Egypt, the winner of Argentina and Egypt versus the winner of Switzerland and Colombia. That'll be the one I'll be covering on 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 next Friday. So we'll get to know that. So we'll cover that one on next Friday. And of course, our next national park in the series is going to be a very well-known national park. It's going to be the last of Utah's 5 national parks, Capitol Reef. So we'll be going over to, yeah, same thing here too. We'll cover Capitol Reef, the last of Utah's 5 national parks, and probably the most underrated of all the Utah parks, honestly. Because Utah is blessed with so many great parks. Zion and Bryce Canyon are the most visited parks, obviously. And I'm very excited to see what Zion and Bryce are going to look like post-update. So I'll be looking forward to that one. In fact, for the Redux thing, I might even do both national parks for Zion and Bryce. Since they're so close to each other, I might do both Zion and Bryce Canyon. Both. I might do them both in a Redux. So really, really cool. Like I said, this scenery is just really cool. in general. So outside of that, though, after Capitol Reef, however, then we have Guadalupe Mountains in Texas, Voyageurs, Badlands, Theodore Roosevelt, and then Channel Islands to complete Part 4. Part 5 is going to mainly be all the Alaska National Parks added, so we're going to be stuck in Alaska for quite a while. But no, Alaska's a gorgeous state to visit. If you ever get the chance to visit Alaska, do it. It's a beautiful state. So lots of cool stuff here too. Yeah, Alaska. Yeah, people kind of forget it's a U.S. state. Now, if you want to know about how the United States got Alaska, well, it was originally a Russian territory. It was once part of the Russian Empire back in the 19th century. However, Russia couldn't keep a hold of it due to its conflicts with Britain, and rather than giving it to the British, they asked the Department of Interior Secretary of Department at the time, William Seward, and the Russians gave him a deal for worth $5 million for the Alaska Purchase. In 1867 for $7.2 million. And of course, the Senate approved of it. Of course, William H. Seward, the Secretary of State at the time, people who, opponents of it, call it Seward's Folly or Icebox. However, it turned out that was a massive fleece by the United States. Because guess what they got in return? They got all sorts of Alaska's petroleum resource. And the US got a lot of Alaska's resources. Plus, it allowed the United States to expand its influence across Asia and stuff, too. So, pretty interesting stuff how the United States got Alaska. So we're going to get closer to Langley Airport. But I want to go, before we get there, I want to talk briefly about the history of Arches National Park. So Arches, the history of Arches, humans came around this area over the last Ice Age 10,000 years ago. The Fremont people and ancestral Pueblos lived in this area until 700 years ago. And the Spanish missionaries encountered the Ute and Pipe tribes that came in the area when they first came through in 1775. But the first European Americans to settle in this area were the Mormons, who tried and settled it in 1855, who soon abandoned the area. Ranchers, farmers, and prospectors later settled Moab in the neighboring Riverine Valley in the late 1870s. The word of the beauty in the surrounding rock formation spread beyond the settlement as a possible tourist destination. Now, the Arches were first brought into public attention to the National Park Service by Frank A. Waldling, a passenger traffic manager of the Denver-Rio Grande Western Railroad. Waldling visited the area in 1923 with the invitation of Hungarian-born prospector Alexander Ringhofer. And eventually, this area grew a lot more support as a national monument from Lawrence Gould, a University of Michigan grad student, and future polar explorer, studying the geology of the area. And eventually, with a lot of government investigators, It would eventually become a national monument in 1929. Of course, it didn't take another 3 years before attracting 40 years to attract Lyndon B. Johnson, enlarging the national monument, and then, of course, 3 years later, it was formally declared a national park in May 1972. In 1980, Vandals attempted to use abrasive kitchen cleanser to deface ancient petroglyphs in the park, prompting park officials to recruit physicist John F. Asmus using laser to restore works art to repair the damage. Of course, vandals happened again in 2016 on Frame Arch when section of rock is carved out. And it was repaired just 2 years later using color match and modern infilling methods. Yes, there are people who actually try and vandal the park. Because why would people want to vandal something like Arches National Park? People. Just why? I don't get it with people sometimes. Like, it's a place of natural wonders. Why would you do it? So, that concludes the history of Arches National Park here in beautiful Utah. Really gorgeous park. So we'll make our landing pretty soon. I think our airport should be around here in just about a few miles, of course. Yep. We are about 12 miles away. So we're about 12 and a half. So yeah, I've already worked ahead on our game day flights thing. I've already decided what we wanted to do for the game day flights. So after our World Cup final, in just 2 weeks, of course, we'll go 2 straight weeks into the MLS for the game day flights. I've already picked them out. Columbus Crew Cincinnati and Timbers Sounders. Then from there, of course, we then have Yokohama and Kashida Antlers. We're going to head to Japan. Then we're going to go to baseball on August 14th. That'll be the last trip before I head on vacation. And then September, the week I come back on September, is Ireland. So, yeah, I was just working on a lot of the other stuff too. So here it is, guys. Our first airport is right here. Grass strip is down below, so we're gonna have to descend. I think Typhon's already found the grass strip. Dirt strip. So here we go. Stop of the day. Our first stop. Hey, we got a raid from Gadget FPV. I hope you had a great flight, my dude. Welcome to the channel here today, Gadget FPV and viewers. This is Fiber Strike 95. We're doing some general aviation action here today. We're exploring Arches National Park. We're just about to make our first stop of the trip. So we're about to make a bush landing here today. We're gonna make right here in this airstrip right here is our first stop. Kilo Romeo Alpha Echo, and not the easiest place to land. Park. Good to see you, my dude. Let me get a shot for him and his viewers. Gadget. Oh, thank you, Typhon. Thanks, mods, as always. So definitely check out Gadget FPV streams. He streams Microsoft Flight Sim, but he also streams other games, mainly hunting games, like The Hunter Call of the Wild and Way of the Hunter. So welcome in, my dude. I hope you had a great rest of your stream, of course. So we're making our first stop here. We started in 33 uniform, which is Dutch John, Utah. We got to fly over Dinosaur National Monument. Really neat place to visit, especially if you get into the dinosaurs and paleontology. But yeah, really cool stuff. Ah, nice. You get to do a multi-hop in Southwest Airlines. That's cool to hear. So if you guys want to know where we're flying here today, we stopped at Kilo Alpha Romeo. So we have here And we're on the Southeast Asian server. If you guys want to join on in, we're in Kilo Romeo Alpha Echo. We're just seeing if anyone wants to join along with us. We're always more than welcome for new people to join along with us, of course. So next leg is going to be a 50 nautical mile leg over to Grand Junction Airport in just outside of Grand Junction, Colorado. So we'll be seeing if anyone wants to join along with us, of course. But yeah, some really big stuff, of course, this week. Been really enjoying my time, obviously. So we're gonna get ready for the we're gonna go ahead and get started with leg number 2. So we're gonna go down to 10,000 feet for this one. So and we're up. So flight director on. So we're gonna climb to 10,000 feet for this one. But yeah, the sights have been super good so far. I'm very excited for this trip, obviously. So, flying with us is my mod. My good friend and moderator is Super Typhon. He's been basically been nearly every one of my streams. So, if you guys don't know about me, I do flight sim content since 2021. I've been doing streaming. I've done GA as my main thing. I love general aviation, but I do fly airliners too. Mainly off stream, of course. GA has been kind of my thing in jam. So, woo! Look at that. He's in the zip code. Even at altitudes can't stop him from flying fast, of course. So this one's going to be considerably shorter than the last leg, of course, which was 73 knots. So, of course, the last leg is going to be the longest. We're going to be flying over Moab and stuff, exploring the national park. If you guys aren't aware about Arches, a little bit about some information about the park, just for general purpose. The national park is about 4 miles north of Moab, Utah. There's over 2,000 natural sandstone arches, most famously being Delicate Arch, which constitutes the highest density of natural arches on Earth. And it's mainly because the park lies above an underground salt bed, which caused a lot of the formations of the arches, spires, balanced rocks, and sandstone fins in the park. And it didn't become a national park until 1971. It was originally a national monument in 1929. It took many years, but it became a park. So, big stuff coming up here. We're going to be back in the cockpit for a bit as we climb to 10,000 feet. So, we'll talk about some other parts of the park later. So, some of the recreational activities here you can guys do at the national park. Yes, I make these slides on my own, but there are plenty of recreation activities. However, you can't really climb much of the park. Climbing Balance Rock or any of the named arches in the park, where the opening larger than 3 foot, is banned by park regulation. Climbing other features of the park is allowed, but very relegated. In addition, slacklining and base jumping are banned park-wide. Now, climbing on the arches within the park has long been banned by park regulation. However, but someone did make a climb on Delicate Arch in 2006. The word of regulations was deemed unenforceable by park attorney, so they had to revive its regulations. Now, if you talk about approved activities at the park, they include auto touring, hiking, bicycling, camping at the Devil Garden Playground, backpacking, canyoneering, and rock climbing with permits available for the last 3 activities. Guide commercial tours and ranger programs are also available. In addition, astronomy is popular in the park due to its dark skies, though it is increasing light pollution from towns such as Moab have increased the light pollution. So yes, this is actually a pretty good place for hiking too. So yeah, there's plenty of things to do. Hiking is really popular here, and it's one of the best ways you can get closer to a lot of the arches here at the park. Stargazing is popular, and plenty of other stuff here too. So really cool stuff. Tons and tons of things to do here at the national park. Of course, this is a very well-known national park. Arches National Park has been talked about for years. Delicate Arch in particular was subject to the 2014 quarter of the U.S. Mint's America the Beautiful Quarters, commemorated the national park's historic sites, and the Arches score actually had the highest production of the 5 2014 national park quarters with over 465 million minted. American writer Edward Abbey was a park ranger at Arches National Monument in 1956-57, where he kept journals in his book Desert Solitaire. The success of his book, as well as interest in adventure travel, has drawn many hikers, mountain bikers, and off-pavement driving enthusiasts to the area. Permanent activities in the park like camping, hiking along designated trails, backpacking, and more, both unpaved, were mainly grown because of his book. And finally, the Haydu Trail, the main backpacking route, was actually named after one of Edward Abbey's characters, begins in the park. So yeah, pretty cool stuff about the publicity. But yeah, it's a very, very cool national park. And the final slide for today and for this leg, of course, is the flora and fauna of the park. You'd be surprised that despite living in a semi-arid desert, there's actually an abundance of wildlife and plants that live here in the park. In terms of wildlife species, some of the animals that live here include spadefoot toads, antelope squirrels, scrub jays, peregrine falcons, desert bighorn sheep, mule deer, cougars, yucca moths, and collared lizards live in this area. In terms of plant species, there's just as wide diverse of plant species. Prickly pear cactus, the Indian rice grass, bunch grasses, mosses, liverworts, juniper, Mormon tea, blackbrush, pinyon pine, primrose, yucca, and sacred datura live in the national park. Of course, much of the animals and stuff have the biological soil crust of cyanobacteria, lichen, moss, algae, and fungi are found throughout southeast Utah. And they help keep the soil particles together to create a layer more resistant to erosion. And that living soil readily absorbs water and stores it to allow more complex forms of plants to grow in places with low precipitation levels. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, it surprised me a bit at first when I looked at it, but the fact it has that wide range of support of animals is why keeping and protecting the environment is so important. So that concludes the slides for this leg. So we'll get down through here. See, you can definitely see the landscapes here of this side of Colorado. It's really pretty. So So Murphy's going to be. So I want to talk about some things in our community, mainly with Two-Tone Murphy, of course. Murphy's one of my closest people who's helped me get into it. He's going to be back Monday, taking the DC-6 into Milford Sound, which I don't think it's going to be that difficult of a landing. So really cool stuff. So very excited for that when that comes. So we're going to be heading to Grand Junction, Colorado, which, if you guys don't know about Grand Junction, of course, So Grand Junction, by the way, is actually the largest city in western Colorado. 65,500 people lived in 2020. And the seventh most populous municipality in the state. As the largest city in western Colorado, it is the economic and cultural center of the Western Slope region. This place is and this city is also the largest urban area between Denver and Salt Lake City. Of course, nearby Grand Junction is Colorado National Monument, and we will be actually flying over the National Monument on the way to Arches. So we will be flying over. So we will be flying through Arches National. We'll fly through Colorado National Monument. So we'll fly through Colorado National Monument and explore the area. And basically, that area has unique scenic areas of canyons and mesas, overlooks the city into the west. In addition to this, Grand Junction is also probably one of the closer gateways. You can get down to Montrose, and you can get to the Black Canyon of the Gunnison that way, of the Black Canyon Gunnison, or you can go further south and you can reach your way into Mesa Verde. So Grand Junction is actually pretty important to get to some of the more remote areas in Colorado. But yeah, just look at the state of his landscape. This is just pretty, guys. Don't you guys agree just how beautiful this place is? Absolutely stunning landscapes. Absolutely gorgeous. Yep, we're getting through Grand Junction very shortly. I don't think we had to take too much longer to do so. We're just around 19 nautical miles. So, pretty important stuff, of course. So, we're about to make our way further down. So, this here, of course, is more into the western part of the state. So, and the airport we'll land to is Grand Junction Airport. Um, so, this airport, by the way, Grand Junction Regional, is actually it's the fifth busiest state in Colorado. One interesting thing about this airport is opened back in 1930 as Grand Junction Municipal, but it was named at Walker Field after Walter Walker, former publisher of the Daily Sentinel, who obtained the funds for the airport. Of course, the airport is mainly used for flights across the western United States, Dallas, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, and even seasonal flights to Orange County Airport. So, pretty important stuff. So, we're getting pretty good here as well. I guess we can go down a little bit lower to 6,500 feet. I'm going to go ahead and descend to 6,500. So, and there is Grand Junction. Way down there, there's Grand Junction Airport. So there she is. Hey, look at that for a view. Grand Junction. That's the western slope. Here it is, guys. Grand Junction's Airport. And then there's Colorado National Monuments nearby. Hey, good to see you, Martel. It's been a while since I've seen you on my stream, Martel. I hope you're doing well. We're on our second leg to Grand Junction. We're going to be heading our way over soon to our first stop. Um, So here we go. Here we go. Our landing here at Grand Junction. Another easy landing. Yeah, the landscape is so beautiful up here. We got to visit Dinosaur. We started from 33 Uniform Martel. We got to see Dinosaur National Monument, which is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Some of the really striking canyons at Dinosaur National Monument. Really cool stuff. Dinosaur National Monument's really pretty. And then we make our way here for our second stop. If you guys want to join along in, we're on Southeast Asian server. We just arrived in our second stop at Kilo Golf Juliet Tango, Grand Junction Airport. So, very cool area of the world to visit. So, we'll be, if you guys are more welcome to, you guys are. So, we're going to get ready for our third and final leg into the national park. We're going to finally arrive here at the national park at Arches. So we got one last leg left to go. So we're going to go ahead and clean up our plate. So we're going to go ahead and delete those. Yes. And we're going to go into the direction of 227 degrees. So we're going to go this way. Just want to set the heading for 227. Now the good news is the altitude will remain. We're going to be at 10,000 feet for this leg. And the other reason I took a bush point for this is because, guys, you don't really need a super long runway to fly in and out of much of the areas here we're going to be doing today. So. So we're going to fly over Colorado National Monument. Now, I don't have notes for it, but I do. I don't have the slide for it, but I'll tell you from my notes. This national monument is famous for its sheer wall canyons in sandstone in the granite gneiss schist rock formation on the Colorado Plateau. The national monument hosts a wide range of wildlife: red-tailed hawks, golden eagles, ravens, jays, bighorn sheep, and coyotes. And many activities include hiking, horseback riding, bicycling, and scenic drives. And Rimrock Drive are some of the most popular parts of the national monument. But the main natural feature of this national monument is Monument Canyon, and it runs from the width of the park. And it features its own rock formations, including Independence Monument, Kissing Couple, and Coke Ovens. And it's around 20,500 acres of land. So, pretty cool stuff. Neat little national monument. So we should probably see a little bit about the canyons, of course. So we should see a little bit of the national monument. So here it is, guys. Colorado National Monument here over Grand Junction. So we get to visit 2 national monuments today, guys. In addition to the national park, we got 2 beautiful national monuments for visiting. Bet you guys be happy about that. That's for sure. So here it is, the national monument here. So here it is, the national monument, Colorado. So once we get through Colorado National Monument, we'll talk a bit about the features of Arches National Park. So we'll go do that in much greater detail. But yet the landscapes look absolutely incredible in this park. There's Independence Canyon. Look at the landscape here. That's just cool. So we'll take a picture of Colorado National Monument here. So we'll take a picture of that for the Discord. Absolutely just breathtaking scenery here this morning. We were blessed with some really amazing scenery here today, guys. This has been a lot of fun exploring this area. Colorado, like I said, and I'm also curious to see what the national park update does to all the national parks we have here, because that's going to be the real interesting part. Arches is the first of the world updates to cover the national parks in this series. So I'm very curious to see what this looks like. And by the way, I do have it already installed and stuff, so I already got it all into here. It's already installed. So So we're gonna now enter Arches. So there are tons of features of in Arches National Park. I put a whole list. These are just all the normal features in this park. I'm not kidding. There's all the features here. Um, some of them include some of the more famous ones like the Bounce Rock, Devil's Garden, which is really cool. The Arches and Columns, known as Devil's Garden. The Tower of Babel's, the Wall Arch, however that collapsed in the 2000s. But there are three main ones we're going to be covering here today. Delicate Arch, Double Arch, and Landscape Arch are the three main arches we're going to be covering here. So the first arch we'll talk about here today is, of course, the Delicate Arch. This is the most famous arch of the national park. It's the park's most famous natural landmark. This 52-foot tall arch is located in Moab, and it's the most widely recognized landmark in the park. And it's depicted on both license plates in Utah and the postage stamp commemorating Utah's centennial anniversary of the admission to the Union. The Olympic torch relay for the 2002 Olympics also passed through the arch. Because of its dictated shape, it was known as the Chaps and the Schumarm's Bloomers by local cowboys. But the arch played no part in the original designation of this area's national monument in 1929, and it wasn't even included in the original boundaries. It was added in 1938. Of course, in the 1950s, the National Park Service did investigate a possibility to put clear plastic on it to protect it from erosion. However, it was abandoned as it was impractical. Nature photographer Michael Fatale started a fire under the arch in 2000 to demonstrate nighttime photography techniques to a group of amateur photographers. In the fire, discovered portions of the sandstone and arch. Of course, during ecology, you can find white-throated swifts nest on top of the arch during the summertime. However, someone did climb the arch actually in 2006 when Dean Potter climbed as many as 6 free solo ascents of the arch. It was not explicitly forbidden under the rules of the time. And then, of course, controversy then ensued when photographs taken after Potter's climb showed damage by a climbing technique as well. So people are not allowed to climb on this arch. But, of course, it is a very popular place for a lot of people to take photos. Now, we will land here, of course, but not directly near the arch. We'll actually go some distance away, so we don't have to go. Or we could just fly over the arch and not have to worry about damaging the thing as well. So, there's Delicate Arch. The second arch is the Landscape, the second most famous arch in the park. Landscape Arch is among the longest natural rock arches in the world. It's 290 feet long. and it's among many in the Devil's Garden area north of the park. It was named by Frank Beckwith, who explored the area in the winter during 1934 as part of a scientific expedition. And it is considered to be the fifth longest natural arch in the world after 4 different ones in China. So it was measured 290 feet long with a height of 77 feet or 23 meters high. The most recent rockfall events occurred in the 90s when one large slab fell in 1991 and 2 additional ones in 1995. And since then, the trail beneath the arch has been closed. So, yeah, it's a pretty long arch we're dealing with here, of course. And finally, the last arch we'll talk about here is double arch. Now, double arch is a closed set of double natural arches in the park. That's one of the better known features of the park. Now, double arch is unique as it was formed differently from most of the other arches in the park. It is what is known as a pothole arch formed by water erosion from above rather than more traditional erosion from the side. The larger opening has a span of 140 feet and a height of 104 feet. Given these dimensions give the arch the tallest opening and second largest span in the park, after the landscape arch. Of course, Double Arch was most famous for being the backdrop of the opening scene of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, in which they were briefly visible. So, pretty cool stuff. Double Arch is a really unique landmark, and we'll be flying over that too. So those are the 3 main arches we'll be paying a visit to here in the park. So that's the slides for today. So we're going on through. We're just 75 nautical miles from our final destination at Canyonlands Airport. Kilo Charlie November Yankee. So we're getting pretty close to our first stop. So to our left, you guys can see Mount Wass and Mount Peel, 2 more peaks in the eastern side of Utah, of course. So we're just going to fly out just from the outside so we can see some of the really cool scenery. But yeah, looking forward to visiting this area. So yeah, we're going to see plenty of mesas and stuff and rivers, so this is going to be a lot of fun to fly over. So this is my first time going to be, so I think this area is already updated. They said this is the most ambitious world update in terms of data for Microsoft. Oh wow, look at this place. Oh, that's just deadly. Yeah, look at the tin. It already looks so different now. Wow, it looks so different here. Just look at the colors here. Yeah, this place already looks different. See that sharp line between the two? That's the tint differences. We're about to approach Moab. Yeah, I would like to have the world update like this one day, Typhon. But that depends on the governments and stuff and whether they allow them to have the information or not. That's the thing. There's several countries that would love to have a world update. Mexico would be amazing. A Mexico update, Poland, all those areas. I mean, Alaska would be cool to see. So yeah, very interesting, but looks good so far. It looks a lot better now. Wow. Oh, whoa. Oh, Lord. Whoa, this is different. So once we get down to this last waypoint, we'll descend down to 6,000 feet. So I'm going to set to 6,000 and we'll... We don't have to descend now, but we can descend slowly. So I'm going to go ahead and descend 300 feet a minute. Just slowly descend. Wow, that's a lot different. That looks really nice now. Holy moly. Hey, Nightwolf, good to see ya. We're heading our way to Arches National Park. We started at 33 Uniform in Dutch John, Utah. We got to fly over Dinosaur National Monument first. Then we went to Rangeley Airport, Kilo Romeo Alpha Echo. Then went to Grand Junction for the second leg. And then the third and final leg, we crossed over Colorado National Monument. And we're now heading to Arches, our first national park in the series post-world update. So, should be very interesting to check out this area. If you guys don't know Nightwolf, a really great content creator, makes some excellent streams on his channel. Check out Nightwolf, a great dude. Love his work. And runs his own really impressive virtual airline too. So, yeah, this is crazy. So we're about to arrive into Moab, of course, which is a very well-known town. Oh, Moab, Utah. It's the destination site for a lot of Utah, especially for outdoors. This is an outdoorsman's paradise going to Moab. Hiking, mountain biking, rafting's really good here too. Rafting through the Colorado River. Off-roading is a must visit for off-roading. Tons of 4x4 trails. And who can forget the national parks? Arches National Park, Canyonlands are both right next to it. There's also a Utah Raptor State Park, which is one of the largest dinosaur beds in North America, and that place, Utah Raptor State Park. Where's that at? Utah Raptor State Park. That state park is just north of Moab, which is one of the relatively new state parks, established back in 2021. It's named after, of course, the Utah Raptor, which is a giant dromaeosaur that's around 20 to 23 feet long, and is one of the largest dinosaur beds in North America. But yeah, tons of things to do in the Moab area. Bonnie's Player, good to see you, Morty, my dude. I hope you're doing well. Definitely check out Bonnie's Player. Love his work as a content creator. Really great dude. We're heading to Arches National Park, the first national park of this series, post-World Update. So that is where we're going today. But man, the scenery is just, oh my Lord Almighty. We're gonna collect arches. We didn't expect the scenery to be this nice. Oh my goodness gracious. This is impressive. This is nice. Oh man. Wow. That's just insane. Look at this. And here's the Colorado River. Imagine rafting through this area. Look at this. Like as an Irish Egypt would say, look at the state of this. Just gorgeous. So yeah, just insane place. So we're going to be arriving here about a couple minutes to Arches. So we got 3 main arches we'll check out for our pictures, which is going to be which will be Double Arch, and we'll also see Bounce Rock. We'll want to see Delicate Arch, and finally, of course, the famous Double Arch, the famous Landscape Arch. So we'll be seeing those. But I'm very excited to show you guys this park. Really, really cool. Super excited for you guys. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope your all's weekend's treating you well, but yeah, I'm so far very impressed with this update. I cannot wait to see what they've done with the other national parks. And speaking of which, if you guys weren't aware about my Discord, I listed all the parks affecting the update into 2 categories. One's for the ones we visited before on stream. The others are ones that are going to be upcoming in the future. So the ones that we'll be doing in the future, we're going to continue along with the series as normal. So some of those updated will include Capitol Reef, which will be next Sunday, Guadalupe Mountains for the next 2 weeks, Badlands, Teddy Roosevelt, Great Basin, Saguaro, Death Valley, Joshua Tree, Black Canyon, the Gunnison, Great Sand Dunes, and Pinnacles. So I'm really curious to see what they do with those national parks. The other ones that are listed in the update will be the ones we'll be revisiting in the future. So we will be making a revisit to these parks in the future. So that includes most notably the most notable parks The most notable of these, of course, will include Sequoia, Rocky Mountain, Zion, Bryce Canyon, Grand Teton, Big Bend, and Norcast in Canyonlands. I'm even more excited to see what a sub would do for those parks. We'll be revisiting those parks in the future. So that is where we're going to be doing in the future. So we'll be revisiting them because I think I want to see the full picture with the world update and see what they look like too. So they'll be having their own sort of stuff in the series. And basically for the Redux is going to be mainly with the they're going to be shorter. Since we've already talked about the parks, we're going to mainly do we're just going to be a lot shorter. So for example, one of the other parks I did, Canyonlands, for example. We'll start at Hite Airport and we'll end back at Monticello. That'll be like for the Redux. And we'll do this sort of stuff, but that's a lot shorter. That's what I'm going to get at with you guys. We're going to have shorter times so we can look at the park a lot shorter. We could do multiple of them if we want to. And of course, some of these parks could be in order. So for example, for a Redux, we might do 1 or 2 parks as a Redux. We'll pay a visit to Sequoia first, do 1 flight around Sequoia National Park and see what's there, then do a second shorter flight to visit Crater Lake. And we'll do all sorts of stuff from those. But that way we get to see more of the parks and stuff from a different perspective. I think that would be what we're going to do. That way we don't have to take you as long to get the streams done, but we can still check out all the parks. So yeah, but the detail's incredible, Mark. You're not kidding, Martel. The detail's insane here. But yeah, all 5 of the Utah National Parks are updated with this. Zion, Bryce, Arches, Capitol Reef, and Canyonlands. Yeah, I don't know. I should ask Murphy to do a group flight. We fly through all 5 of them. We'll fly through Utah's Big 5. Zion, Bryce. Then the short hop over to Capitol Reef, Canyonlands, and Indian Arches. Like, this area is one of the most stunning areas in the United States. I know a lot of people say the Grand Canyon is stunning, but let me tell you, Grand Canyon has nothing on southern Utah. And I mean nothing on southern Utah. The Grand Canyon's insane, but man, I'm even more excited to check out Canyonlands. I almost feel like I should just go head first south to Canyonlands and see what that place looks like. Because holy hell, look at Canyonlands. Look at it. So this is the town of Moab. It's the adventure place destination here in the state. Really cool place if you love your action adventure and to explore the natural landscapes. There is no better place in the state to do it. We're going to go 320 degrees, so we're going to go... So this here, we're going to now visit our first waypoint. So we're going to enter our first waypoint here. So we're going to enter... And we're going to go, I'm going to go right here. We're going to slow down a little bit. So yeah, this is the Colorado. Oh my goodness gracious, this is insane. So we're going to visit LaSalle Mountains Viewpoint. Oh my lord. So we will try to find a place we get close to the arches, of course. But I don't want to land next to them. I want to land near them. Yeah, this is absolutely insane, dude. This is arches. I don't even want to visit the other national parks yet because I want to be blown away by this. Oh my goodness gracious me. This is absolutely insane. This might be one of their best updates I've seen for years. The only thing I wished is this came out before the last year started. I would be so blown away by this. Uh, sorry to keep saying how much it is. It's just this sim keeps impressing me in new ways. This is why I like to play GA. Like airliners are great and all. Don't get me wrong. But the true magic of this sim is you get lower to the ground and you see the scenery in person, and that's the true magic of Microsoft Flight Sim. It's this. So this here is the Lasai Mountains viewpoint and such. Look at this. That is just insane. It's not an arch, but now, of course, we're going to try and land in your double arch. Excuse if my landing isn't perfect. I do the best I can with trying to land this in small spaces. So we're going to turn right. We're going to go ahead into... So we're going to head... This is Petrified Dunes. So this here is the Petrified Dunes area here at the park. Just insane. So we're going to turn left. For Petrified Dunes, let's see if we can find our first arch of it. Of our 3 ones we'll be looking to pay a visit. Let's see if we can find... Let's find Double Arch. Let's see if it's not melding into the scenery first. If no, so let's see. Double Arch is right in this area here. It's somewhere over here. So we'll... Oh, wait, the F1 Grand Prix happened. Who won? It's Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Leclerc won it for Ferrari. Charles Leclerc won it for Ferrari. Good win for Ferrari. Not bad for Cadillac. Perez got 15th. So Double Arch is over here. Let's see if Double Arch is, if it can be seen here. If not, we can use active pause and take a picture of it. So, so Double Arch is over here. So this area is where Double Arch would be, right here. So there's Double Arch right here, guys. Pretty cool stuff. So to our left, we still have the Standing Rock. There's Standing Rock right over there, one of the other landmarks here in the park. So there's Standing Rock and Bounds Rock. So there's Bounds Rock over here. So we're going to go ahead and turn left. 300 in. So now we're entering the Fiery Furnace, which is over here. This is the Fiery Furnace area. So beautiful landscapes here. So this is Fiery Furnace. This is super cool, guys. The scenery is absolutely incredible this update. And mind you, this is Arches. This isn't even the most striking visual national park here in the state of Utah. If you want that, I can't even wait to see what Zion would look like. I would cry if Zion looked as good as the Grand Canyon. I would cry. But yeah, that's cool. So. So we're going to go ahead to Delicate Arch. And there she is. And there she is. Delicate Arch is right over here. Yep, there is Delicate Arch. So we won't land next to it, but we'll land pretty close to it. Because after all, you guys all know about the sandstone here. A lot of the sandstone is held by biological soil. So I want to minimize as much damage as we can with Delicate Arch. I don't want to land near it. So we're going to make a landing here. So here it is. We'll find a good spot down here. We'll land, and then we'll take a picture of Delicate Arch from the ground. So we'll take a good picture of her from the ground, and we'll get back to the aircraft. Right here. Yeah, that's actually not a bad place to park. We'll park right here. That's not a bad landing at all down here. We'll leave the plane behind, and there she is, Delicate Arch. Oh, Speed Pro. Oh no, really? You're gonna land? You're gonna fight in the arch? Oh my goodness gracious! That would have been really bad. Because guess what? The people of Utah would be pretty pissed someone's been flying over their underneath their arches like that. Someone better clip that. But yeah. Unbelievable. Oh man. What an absolutely bunch of fun. This has been a very fun stream, guys. A lot of fun. Arches is such a beautiful park. Beautiful landscapes here today. So yeah, this is Delicate Arch. This is the most famous arch in the park. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's go ahead and get her back into the plane. I'm not going to fly through it. We're going to go ahead and get this thing back into the air. But man, this is a stunning area, guys. So far, so good for this world update for Microsoft. So far, so good with the update. So next place in the last major point in this. We'll be mainly flying through we're mainly through the Devil's Garden. We'll fly through that area, of course. So this here is going to be the Devil's Garden area here at the park. But I hope you guys, if this is the taste of what this update is going to look like, yes, southern Utah is absolutely just gorgeous. It is easily one of the most beautiful areas here in the States. I mean, the canyonlands carved by the Colorado, the limestone all over the sandstone. I mean, you have so much variety scenery in Utah. Northern Utah, you got the forests and the mountains of the Wasatches. Southern Utah's got the canyons, and the middle stuff has the Great Basin, which is really underrated. So we have one final leg left to go through this. So we're going to go ahead and turn left. So we're going to go through one final. This is the final section of this journey here. Our final stretch. So this is the Devil's Garden area at the park. We should see quite a few of the arches here. So we should find the landscape arch somewhere around here. Is the landscape arch, and I think we found landscape arch. There she is, guys. Landscape arch is to our left. There she is. Wow, this is so impressive. Let's see how many pictures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the other one to our left is the double O arch, the Dark Angels. So we're going to go ahead and do one last view from the back. I'm so impressed with this update. I really am impressed with this so far. Turn left. So yeah, we're arriving at Canyonlands Airport. So Yeah, you had to fly over Skyline Arch. That's crazy. But I'm super impressed. This is just mesmerizing. But yeah, this has been a bunch of fun, guys. I had a blast here today. Fantastic. Yeah. So that's it, everyone. We're gonna land on runway 21. We'll wrap things up in style. So we're gonna land there, and we'll wrap things up. This has been an insanely enjoyable flight. I've been I'm very happy with this flight. Super super happy. What an absolute. This update has been a home run so far, and I haven't. And that's just the first national park. I still haven't visited the other ones yet. Well, thankfully, next Sunday is going to be Capitol Reef. I'm very interested to see how that turns out. I'm not going to do much exploring the other parks because, of course, I don't want to be spoiled by it. So that's it, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this trip in Arches National Park. I had a blast here today. Thank you guys so much for coming with me on this Sunday stream. I'm blessed to have such a great community here. So we're going to say hello to Nige B here today. He's doing some World Cup flying in Alaska and Canada. So we'll raid his channel. I hope you guys stick around for the raid. We'll be back on Friday for our next game day flight. Hopefully it might be Argentina versus Colombia. Should be a pretty fun match. Take care, guys, and I hope to see you again on Friday. Goodbye, everyone, and have a great rest of the week. Take care.